Okay.
Okay, so we're back.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go to my dial screws over here and loosen them up. Remember, we tightened them before we put them in the cleaner.
So we didn't lose them.
Yeah. Yeah. I often work on a watch and find the dial screws are missing. And then sometimes you get lucky and the dial fits tight anyway. But remember, we bagged this dial.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice and clean. Probably have to loosen that screw. A little more. Gotta be careful here. It's not going on quite perfect. There we go.
You can see that the date's lined up nicely in the square. It's kind of an indication that it's in the right place.
Yeah, and it's seated good. So we'll tighten that down. Not too tight because, you can shift the dial feet. You
Too much.
Tighten them and you can shift dial over. And then you have problems there too. That's it. That's it. I don't even need to blow that off. Okay, so now there's two ways to do this. We've got it in a movement holder. We want to put the hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but remember when we advance the date.
So you want to set it to midnight where it's just changed the
Just gonna
date?
trip, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna grab another movement holder. We have a tool that is a 3135 movement holder, and it's actually made for putting hands on. So we'll use it. So movement sits in there nicely. Now it also it sits in there nicely because the case screws are on there. But it's not tightened down. So here we're working gently. It's not like we're gonna do anything to make it fly around. Or so. But let's just come around, and just when it barely trips.
It's like 10 minutes before.
Right, here, see a little movement there? Yeah. Okay, let's just...
The moment there's a plink, it's midnight, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, we were going backwards, so... It's always forward on the 3135. So was it going to go to the 18th, or... So we'll try that again. There we go.
Ching.
It happened fast, didn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This watch's name was Kermit.
Why, it's its nickname?
Because it's a Kermit bezel. Yeah. But I don't guarantee you that this...
Rolex don't call it a Kermit.
I don't even think so. I don't know where
they call it an LV. The V stands for Verd, as in green.
Ah.
That's why it's an LV at the end.
You're like a glossary.
I am autistically weird when it comes to stuff. We talked about the dots on the crown.
Yeah,
telling
I love
you the
that.
number of gaskets. Did you also know the shape of the crown and the configuration tells you whether it's made of steel, white gold, or platinum, or gold?
Yeah, that's just amazing.
Does that scare you that I know that?
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm just grabbing my hand setter. Now, I'm going to use the wide one. And I take out the other ones just to...
So what this is doing is allowing you to push down the hands perfectly evenly when you put them back onto what I assume is called the stem.
Yeah, but I didn't push it down all the way. I just put it down a little bit so I could...
Check it's okay.
And now we're going to run it around. And I see a little smudge here. And I'm going to take a tiny point of my Rodico. No, that's gone. And that's gone. It's... I can see some of these are just factory imperfections too. There we go. I see a couple more here. Little, tiny little. Grab that. Another little one over here. Now let's see if the date trips. Did we come around?
Yep, there you go.
A little early. Okay, so I didn't tighten it down.
Which means now you can just adjust it slightly
Maybe
closer to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're pushing it on.
Yeah, but I'm going to test it again.
Properly tight.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we are perfect. See a little.
Yeah. So get ready for the ping.
Still a little early. You don't want to start pushing that hour wheel around like crazy. You could shear a tooth or, seriously. There we go. Tripped a little early, but that's it. So we'll push that hand down. And it's only going to go so far because the die on that plastic pusher is going to stop at the shoulder of the hour wheel.
Yeah.
So just come around. So I cannot impress upon you how putting the dial on is really a completely error-free operation. There's a permanent smudge there. That came off. But whatever that is there to stay. You can't see it under the loop. So we're going to put the minute on. And that has to be, I think that Rolex says you have a 1 minute, a 30-second margin for tolerance on the lineup. Well, we're just going to put it on right. And then if I drop it, I don't pick it up on the dial. I just flip it over and start
Just
over.
too much danger you could scuff the dial with a...
Yeah.
I can't do this with tweezers. I have to use a bit of putty on the end of it and drop it on that way.
I mean, I'm really touching it really.
Yeah, really gently.
Now, I'm going to use my staking set, and if you'll notice, this red movement holder will make it easier to set the hands. And now I'm not putting a lot of pressure here, but look, I'm going to actually let my stake
do the work.
Freewheel, and then I'm going to use my stick to move the hand to 0. And I think it came off. I'm going to check my stake.
You're worried the hands come off?
No, it was the wrong. We used the stake for something else. And I'm going to clean the end of my stake, by the way, to make sure there's no grease or... There we go.
And you can see how horizontal it is now.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So you're using your staking set your anvil, and a flat punch. The end of that punch is polished, so it won't scratch the hand, and it's right on the money. And now, if you can use your camera, I'll help you. You can see that the hands are
beautifully aligned and
parallel.
horizontal. Yeah, parallel.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're going to bring it around.
Just to check that there's no unevenness.
No, we're going to bring it around to 3 o'clock to see what our...
How aligned it is with midnight.
45.
How's it looking?
Should be good.
Looks good.
Yeah. And now the easier part is...
Just drop the seconds on.
Except for make sure we don't...
Drop the seconds.
Hurt the dial, yeah.
And I seem to remember with the seconds, it doesn't really matter where you drop it on.
No, because you've got, I think it's 8 increments in a second. So
yeah.
Who could
get the exact right bit?
That's up to you guys to synchronize with your app.
The Rolex app?
There's an app for synchronizing with your phone to real time, to GMT or the atomic time or whatever. You know,
my G-Shock does that.
Lee, I didn't even know you owned a G-Shock.
Of course I own a G-Shock. Got a Mudmaster. It's got a compass on it and everything.
Can you see in here?
Yep.
So I'm just pressing down the seconds. That's it. It's not coming off. I can just tell by the visual that it's parallel. I don't need to change anything. It's just all good. So I'm winding it, putting it back in the movement holder, take it over to 10 o'clock, 10:10, see how everything looks.
Smiley happy watch.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's really neat. Yeah. I will do some final, make sure that we don't pick up any lint. And just as a close on this, because we are going to come back in a minute and put it in the case, you cover your work.
Cover your work.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to like part 9, I guess.
All right.